This is our first trading day in the month of August. Technically speaking, it's the 5th of August. And of course, we're just getting the market started for the full week. If you just discount Friday as the start of the month, just get that into July, put that behind us, get this week focused on. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. I am Bosun Omofa, your frontier opening pair. The markets, just to remind you of where we finished off over the weekend. Friday was positive 0.4% for the Nigerian exchange. The BRVM in Cote d'Ivoire surged a whopping 1.39%. Check the composite index well above the 230 level into 240 to 241.32. The Egyptian market started the week on Sunday. Sunday is the start of business and markets in Cairo. That was a deep dive of roughly 3%, 28,500. And then the NSE in Nairobi was down 0.88 Friday, and the GS in South Africa fell 1.62%. I'm sure you saw the global stock market rout towards the end of last week, and the biggest exchange on the continent with a strong correlation with the emerging and developed markets also took a bit of that bout, 1.62% for the GSE All-Share Index, took that also to 61,500 level. But let's see what the new week will look like as we begin to adjust to the new month, the second month in the third quarter, and we'll see more earnings coming through. So take that down for me and see what the headlines are east of the continent. We've got a couple of headlines to chew this Monday as we get into the new week across various sectors. Norwegian Scatec company is exiting Rwanda and is selling its renewable energy stake in a local company for $1.38 billion US. You got the news Friday. Kenya, Fitch cuts Kenya's sovereign rating to B minus from B, but the outlook was kept stable. We're now on the lookout for S&P Global to issue its own rating on Kenya. That is expected later this month, August the 23rd, just about 3 weeks. We heard from Moody's, we had the downgrade from Fitch. Now we're looking forward to S&P's likely to be in line with the rest of the other two rating agencies. Uganda Stock Exchange late last week held its third BERI, this Bond, Equities, and Other Investment Forum for 2024, and that's focused this time on the insurance segment of the East African economy. Ethiopian Airlines has signed a memorandum of understanding with India to raise the number of destinations for Ethiopian Airlines, that iconic airline private company in Africa. It's also signed some new deals also with the United States as well. Part of the Economic and Investment Forum, which was held last week in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, under Prime Minister Ahmed Abiy. And finally, Kenya's Britam Asset Managers are floating a new pension scheme. This time, it's focused on small and medium enterprises. Let me take you straight to West Africa. Let's just move on. Of course, you know, the Nigerian story is all about the protests. Some of these turning deadly and violent and turning to looting. At least one person was reported dead on Sunday in the country's central state of Plateau, the just capital. Looting of shops and restaurants and nightclubs were reported overnight. The images flashing everywhere on the local new media. So keep that in mind. It's not over yet. The protesters say it's going to be from August the 1st to the 10th. Today's the 5th. We've got a couple of more days to go. But government is trying to throw in a number of containments. A curfew has been announced in a few states across the country, and that all put together, I'm sure, will have impact on business and other activities, by the way. Central Bank, let's now come to the markets where the Central Bank is looking to hold its first RDAS, that's the retail Dutch auction of FX market this week. It's a kind of a resurrection, bringing back and back. We've been through this before, haven't we? Of course, you know, we've been through this before in the 80s and the 90s, trying to rejig the FX market, refloat the currency, keep it stable, try to bring in a new form of what you call financial engineering of the FX market, financial FX management to get the Naira stable and make it a little bit more strong on the US dollar. Let's see how the auction go this week. In the last 2 weeks, the central bank have sold hundreds of millions of dollars into the banks as well as the Bureau de Change operators. The last was the 20,000 to each of the licensed FX bureaus that the central bank has. Now it's bringing in the retail Dutch auction system on table. Let's see how this goes. Protests. Of course, Eurobonds for Nigeria was the worst in emerging markets and frontier markets globally on Friday. And the MTN Nigeria's chief technical officer, Rufai, has been appointed as the CEO for the Congo-Brazzaville business of MTN, of course, which is headquartered in South Africa. And FCCPC, Nigeria's Consumer Protection Agency, has given Coca-Cola and Nigerian Bottling Company the final on their misleading and unfair trade practices. Over the weekend, we saw a statement on social media from Coca-Cola Nigeria and NBC says they disagree with those instructions and the allegations made in a very lengthy email, which was published last week by the FCCPC. Finally, Burkina Faso has set up its own central bank. Now, this is a depository central bank, which is causing the IMF and the World Bank some upset or head scratching right now. Burkina Faso, remember, with Mali or Niger, went into military coup last year, and they say they want to throw off the economic burden or, well, colonial image of France. So Burkina Faso is moving ahead with setting up its own central bank. No West African French-speaking country has its own central bank. You will have to make deposits to the central bank in France. But the Burkina Faso set up a small office, and you can see that those images online. Their own central bank, and they said there'll be no further export of raw gold. It has to be refined in the West African country. Those are the latest from Burkina Faso. Keep your eye on that. Let's move on. Let's check in with Southern African region and see what's grabbing the headlines this Monday. Standard Chartered in Zimbabwe has gotten approval of the RBZ to change its name to FBC Crown Bank after the recent merger and takeover of Standard Chartered operations in Zimbabwe. Now, ZESCO, which is Zambia's electricity supply company, says it's going to import about 218 megawatts of electricity at about $20 million from Eskom in South Africa. And the South Africa's Reserve Bank is reconstructing a new inflation measure to monitor the country's underlying price development. That perhaps will give Leseja Kegiango and his team a new window to assess inflation, which the SARB is targeting at 4.5%. Inflation in South Africa is currently around 5%. And Strive Masiyiwa's Cassava Tech, who is the brain behind the Econet Wireless, that iconic telecommunication company, is setting up its own subsidiaries to be known as Cassava AI. That's Cassava Artificial Intelligence. And finally, Botswana, diamond sales, retail fell 49.2% because the market slump is not over yet. Let's get on. Let's see what's the headlines in North Africa. It's Monday. Of course, business starts on Sunday in Cairo. But of course, the rest of the regions moving on this morning as we look at the Egyptian authorities looking at fresh development of fresh support from the International Monetary Fund. You've got the latest figure. But Morocco is the one making the big splash as far as remittances is concerned in the region across Africa. $5.7 billion in the first quarter of January to March. Electricity minister in Egypt and the top officials of the EBR, the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, are discussing an energy mix strategy for Egypt. Remember last week, the Minister of Agriculture and the Minister of Electricity met together and they were discussing how to use solar power to support poultry farms within the country, at least get them off the grid and provide what is sustainable for the poultry industry. Now, the Swiss Canal Bank has appointed Shehab Zidan as the new deputy CEO and managing director for the organization. Thank you very much. Congratulations. And the finance ministry in Egypt is looking to issue 26 treasury bills and treasury bonds worth roughly 506 billion Egyptian pounds in the month of August. That's the calendar, as it were, as the weekly auctions go. We're going to report them for you on Frontier Opening Bell. Have a great Monday, everyone. Let's get on together for the rest of the week. And you can watch the show online on our YouTube, Frontier Africa Report. Go to our social media handles and follow us on YouTube, on Twitter, X, by the way, that's X. And then, of course, you got Facebook as well as Instagram. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.